Rey Mysterio is being asked on SmackDown about the heinous assault in his own home on Thanksgiving by his own flesh and blood. But before he can even answer, he gets assaulted. It's Dominic and Rhea Ripley again. And Dominic looks down at his father and says, "The only way for this to stop and the only way I will ever respect you again is for you to join us. You join the Judgment Day and this all goes away." And Finn, Priest and Dominic are fresh off a big 6-man win on Raw, and Finn reiterates this. He says, "We made an offer on SmackDown, so we want the answer right now. We know that you're here, Rey, so come on out." And then Rey answers the call. He slowly wanders out and he looks very conflicted. But he tries one more time. He says, "Dominic, I'm your father. Your mother and I raised you better than this. Whatever it is that made you like this, you are big enough to come back from it, and we are strong enough to fix this." Dominic actually looks like he has a little bit of sympathy, but that's quickly squashed because Rhea Ripley steps in front of him and says, "Dom doesn't need you, Papi. He has Mummy. So either you join us or continue getting destroyed by us. The choice is yours, Rey." It's an impossible decision for Rey, to be put through hell or reside there. He doesn't make the decision, and he walks off. And later that week on SmackDown, Rey is approached by Byron Saxton, and he's asked about what his decision will be. But he can't make a decision. He just says, "Listen, I can't even be here tonight. I need to go. I need to clear my head." And the next week on Raw, Rhea is down to the final 2 of a Royal Rumble teaser match where the winner receives a final 10 entry in the match itself. It's down to her and Becky Lynch, and Rhea, with her power, is able to muscle Becky over for the win. Rhea is ecstatic, and Dom, Priest and Bella come out to congratulate her as well. And then the elation turns to a very sinister message because Dominic says, "Dad, I'm making a promise. If we're in the same ring at the same time during the Royal Rumble, I'm going to be responsible for you being eliminated. Unless you make the right decision. If you join us, all this goes away." It's that simple. The Royal Rumble will truly be your Judgment Day. The Women's Royal Rumble is in the closing stages, and Becky and Rhea are the final 2 again. Becky has been in since number 13, and because Rhea won on Raw, she's been in since 27. And Becky is exhausted. They're trying everything. It's then, though, we see Finn and Priest come out. They're going to try and medal in the biggest match on the calendar. But before they get to ringside, Finn turns around and says, "Where the hell is Dominic?" And Rhea is looking at them and she's distracted by all the commotion at ringside. Becky takes the opportunity and she eliminates Rhea Ripley. Becky Lynch wins the Royal Rumble. But then Dom runs out after the fact and he apologizes to Finn and Priest. I didn't see you guys leave. I thought Rhea would be fine, honestly. And Finn is furious. He says, "You know to be ready at all times, Dom. What the hell is the matter with you?" And Rhea sees them now and she storms up. And she says, "Where the hell were you guys? We had a plan. This isn't good enough. What the hell is your problem, Dom?" Dominic has held up his end of the bargain. He's represented the Judgment Day well, and they are in control midway through the Rumble. And Judgment Day are standing there waiting for the next entrant, and as fate would have it, of course it's Rey Mysterio. And this is horrible news for Rey. He cautiously enters the ring and Finn steps in front of Dominic, who again looks somewhat hesitant. And Finn says, "Rey, actually, you know what? Dominic, this is your father. How about you speak to him?" And Dom cautiously steps forward and says, "Dad, you're either with us or you're against us. Eliminate yourself or be eliminated. And I'm not just talking about the match." Ray looks at his son. He knows deep down in his heart he could never fight him. He could never lay a hand on his own flesh and blood. And even after everything he's been put through, he shows the ultimate loyalty. And he says, Dominic, I'd rather fight with you than against you. I'll join the Judgment Day. And amidst all this, they forget that Drew McIntyre is still in the match. He eliminates all of them, but it's not the biggest story. Rey Mysterio stands very alone in the dressing room, wondering just what he's done. On the next episode of Raw, Rhea Ripley is given another chance. She has the chance to head to Elimination Chamber and face the champion Bianca Belair. But she has to go through Bayley to do it. And the battle is as fierce as you'd expect, but also as you'd expect, Damage Control are at ringside and they are messing with the match. We see Finn Balor and Damien watching on backstage and they say, now's your chance, boys. Prove your loyalty. And what we see is Ray and Dominic go to work. Ray in the distinct purple. He's crossed over to the dark side. He and Dominic scare off Dakota and Io Sky and they bail through the crowd. Rhea distracts the referee. Dominic slides a chair into the ring and then Rey Mysterio takes over. He jumps on the apron and he's now distracting the referee. Rhea is clear to use the chair on Bayley. Rhea picks up the win and benefits from the chemistry that Dom and Ray clearly have. She gets the chance to face Bianca Belair at Elimination Chamber, and Dominic and Ray have proved their loyalty. And the continuity continues the week after between Ray and Dominic. They tag up against the Street Profits in a phenomenal match. And Ray is just happy to be on the same page as his son. But that gets put to the ultimate test late in the match when Ray inadvertently knocks Dominic off the apron. Ray is beside himself. The whole reason he joined was so he didn't have to lay hands on his own son. But while Ray is checking on him, he gets rolled up by Montez Ford. He gets pinned and he loses the match for Judgment Day. And Montez and Angelo get the hell out of there because here comes Rhea Ripley, Finn Balor and Damian Priest, and they are not happy. They surround Rey Mysterio and they say, we have standards in this group, Ray. Failure isn't an option. And you need to learn that our way. They are mauling Rey Mysterio. This is a disgrace. Even with him choosing to side with him, they're still making his life hell. But surprisingly, Dominic gets on the apron and he says, hey, he joined us. He did the right thing. What the hell is this for? And then they all turn to Dom. Finn says, you're not going soft on us, are you, Dom? And Rhea walks up to him and says, yeah, Dom. You're not going soft on me, are you? And Dom, incredibly conflicted, but also incredibly intimidated, says, no, of course not. And Rhea then says, well, good. You better get in here and do what's right. And the next week on Raw, Ray is backstage and he asks about the previous week. And Dom says, I'm sorry. But before he can even apologize, Finn cuts him off and says, so what are you guys talking about, huh? Anyway, I don't care. Listen, Ray, I just wanted to say that last week it wasn't anything personal. We just have standards around here, that's all. It's how we handle our business. Oh, and Dom, I need to speak with you. Follow me. And Ray stops him and says, whatever you have to say to my son, you can say to me. And Finn says, hey, Ray, it's none of your business. You're new here. This is how we do it. And Dom says, Finn, come on, go easy. He joined us. He's one of us. You can tell me whatever you need to tell me in front of him. Finn says, "You've changed, and not for the better, Dominic. And now, a matter of fact, forget about our chat. Maybe you'd rather talk to him, but just know where your alliance has to lie." It's Belair versus Ripley. Raw Women's Championship on the line, and these two women are the most dominant in the company, and it is a genuine slugfest. But while this incredible match is going on, so is the sabotage. Finn Balor and Damian Priest are constantly messing with Bianca Belair, constantly distracting her from ringside. And Ray, still being the honourable person, steps in, and he says, "Boys, why don't we let Rhea do this herself? You say we have standards, right? Well, how about we keep the same?" And Balor does not like this. He says, "You need to know your role, Ray. You're a servant to the Judgment Day until you work your way up the ranks, so fall in line." But then, surprisingly, Dominic steps in and he says, "Maybe he's right, Finn. Rhea has this." Finn does not like this either. He says, "Your attitude is really starting to piss me off, Dominic. Maybe you need to fall in line too." But while they're talking, Bianca Belair accidentally knocks the referee down, and Rhea puts her down. Ray slides in the ring. He hits the Hurricane Runner on Rhea Ripley. She lands on the ropes, but Dom slides in and stops him from finishing it off. And Finn says, "Haha, I knew you'd come around. He's our boy now, Ray. He was never your boy. Maybe he's got a little bit more Eddie in him after all." Dom looks at Finn and Damian. He then looks back at his father, and he remembers that he is a Mysterio. And he finishes it off. He hits the 619 on Rhea Ripley. Ray dives to the outside on Finn. Dom dives to the outside on Priest. Belair recovers, nails a KOD on Rhea Ripley. Bianca Belair retains the championship. Dominic has betrayed the Judgment Day. And Ray and Dom get the hell out of there because Finn, Rhea and Priest are fuming. They stare down the Mysterios, and it is very clear that this is just getting started. The next night on Raw, Dominic and Ray appear together. Dominic has a message for his former group. He says, "I knew the error of my ways the moment my father sacrificed himself just to fight alongside me. He walked across to the dark side just to save me. I realized I was being manipulated, I was being used, and now, together, we will tear the Judgment Day apart. And we want a match. We want a match at WrestleMania. Finn and Damian versus us, the Mysterios." Rhea, Finn and Priest come out. They are furious still. And Rhea says, "The worst thing you could have done is side with that loser, Dom. We had a good thing going, and now, rather than tearing us apart, we're going to tear you and your whole family apart. Nobody is safe. And I mean no one." Rhea wasn't messing around. She burst into the locker room backstage where Ray's daughter was. She was there for the reunion, but instead she meets Rhea Ripley. Ray and Dominic try and get backstage, but they're stopped by Balor and Priest, and all they can do is watch on as Rhea Ripley destroys their loved one. It's as personal as it gets, and on Raw, the battle continues. Ray and Dominic are fighting not for themselves, but now for the entire family. It's a full circle moment for Dominic, who was led astray, but couldn't be further from that now. He's a Mysterio. Dom and Ray managed to down Priest and Balor, but there is always a Rhea problem. Rhea, Finn and Priest are now separated after that chaotic brawl, and Finn says, "We've had enough of the Mysterios. Ray in particular, you started all this. We had it all figured out. Your son was far better without you. So here's what we propose. We're so confident that we will eliminate the problem at WrestleMania that if we lose, we'll disband Judgment Day. Oh yeah, everybody likes that, don't they? Well, here's the catch. For us to do that, Ray has to put his career on the line. And Dominic immediately looks at his father and says, no, absolutely not. We're not doing that. And Ray says, it was always me or them, Dom. You chose me. So if I have to go out, I'd rather go out fighting next to you. We accept, Finn. Judgment Day's existence, Rey Mysterio's career, both on the line, and the battle is personal, and now career-defining. Dom is fighting with everything he has for his father, who has shown him nothing but loyalty. But it's all for nothing, because Priest and Balor are too much, and they have decimated Rey at ringside. They smash him through the announce table, and they batter his leg to the point where Rey is in the hands of the referee and the trainers. And while the referee is distracted, Dominic is 2-on-1. But it's soon to be 3-on-1 because, of course, there is a Rhea problem. But then, someone cuts Rhea off. It's Aaliyah. It's Dominic's sister. She's terrified, but she's standing firm for the family. Rhea just laughs at her and says, oh, sweetheart, what are you going to do? And Aaliyah says, oh, nothing. It's more what she will do. And Rhea spins around. It's Beth Phoenix. She nails Rhea with a chair, just like Rhea did to her. Then, in the ring, Dominic's surrounded, but not for long. Edge is back. He and Dominic come face to face, and Edge says, we didn't get along before, but I'm proud of how far you've come. Now finish this, but don't do it for yourself, don't do it for me, don't do it for them. Do it for him. Dom nails the 619. He goes up top and he nails the frog splash. The Mysterios win, and it shows that there is no greater force than family, even when your Judgment Day comes.